Ready, Nish?
Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. Today we're really pleased to have Sifu Tommy, all the way from the US of A. Yeah, I mean, a person we've wanted to talk to for a while. Thankfully, Alex reached out and he was well up for it and said, yeah, definitely want to speak to you guys. So with that, I'll go over to Alex.
Yeah, just a brief introduction. Welcome, Tommy. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
guys,
joining us. Welcome everyone on Facebook. Just like to introduce Sifu Tommy Quan, who's the Tao Fong, the inheritor of Grandmaster Pu Yi's branch of Southern Mantis Kung Fu. He's the head instructor of the Chinese Kung Fu Academy, USA. It's based in Texas. Tommy, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Houston, Texas.
Yeah, based in Houston, Texas. So anybody in that area, anybody traveling in the future? You started your training in Southern Praying Mantis in 1994 under Sifu Yi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're now 55 and you started Kung Fu when you were 5.
Wow.
Yes.
50 years of Kung Fu. That's a lifetime and more for some. You're currently teaching Kung Fu and you're an armed personal protection officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, welcome. Pleasure to be have this opportunity to chat. Just start off with your early years. Just briefly, what other systems did you study before?
Okay, so I immigrated from Hong Kong in '66. So I was only 2 months old when I came over. My grandpa served in the U.S. Army, and so it was up in '70s when I was about to start school. My grandpa's business was a grocery store, and it was in a bad part of town. But we had a house in back of the grocery store, and my grandpa made me learn martial arts.
Yep.
So my grandpa was, it was in a time of where you had to belong to a certain tong. If you had a business, you were Chinese,
Yeah.
And so they found a Sifu, and so he taught me Tam Ga Sam Jin. So Tam Ga Sam Jin is some people say it's old original village style Hungar. There's a Tam Ga Sam Jin teacher in New York, actually. And so I studied that for about 5 or 6 years. And then my grandpa and parents quit because they were saying I was getting too violent. And so up to then, I got, the training was real. It wasn't like you go to a school. This Sifu had me chop my, for a long time, showing me punches, power, the forms, Tam Ga Sam Jin's forms, and it was fun. But at that age, it was no longer fun after you have to chop my for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Next day you can't even sit down to take a shit. Because it hurts. You can't get off the toilet. But so that's where it started, and throughout. When I went to junior high, it got a little worse, the stuff, and then but I already had quit training, but I still remembered the stuff. I mean, I didn't have a one-on-one with the Sifu that my grandpa brought over from Hong Kong, and then so I started saving up my lunch money and skipping school, and this was in junior high, and then there was a Shotokan school across the street. So I would save my money, I would skip class, and my parents would drop me off, and I would walk over there and take a few classes, and it was just off and on. I tried to, from there, the Tongs had a Hungar Sifu, and then did that for about 5 years. And it was just, meeting different people as I progressed. And I had many Sifus, and my thing was if I gotta pay my money to learn from you, you better be able to do something. So, and it became a regimen where you start learning a little from the Sifu, and then go to Sifu, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do this, right? If I do this, I had enough, you know. And if the Sifu couldn't do it, I should not pay my money to learn from you, you know. So that progressed a few, you know, till I met my Sifu. I met my Sifu. The first time I ever saw him was in '91 at this private Onliang Tong exhibition. There's a poster still over about it.
Yeah.
I saw him do his demo, and I'm like, it looks like drag. You know those kung fu movies, those old Chinese movies where they got, you know, vampires and ghosts and goblins. They're hopping around like this. And it's like, no, I don't know, you know. And then I found out he moved to Humble, Texas, and so saw him, and I still wasn't. You know, I wasn't impressed. I didn't understand how it worked. You know, this guy's holding here. He goes, I'm going to hurt you. You make a move. And I'm like, how's, you know. So 94 came. The end of 94 came.
Just to interject there. So you'd already done quite a few martial arts, and you'd done a lot of time, in Hong Kong. And this was from a young age all the way up through to high. So how old were you when you first saw your Sifu perform?
So when I first saw my Sifu perform, that's 91. Okay. Right. So I'm 55 now. So let's do the math. 90. Yeah. So something like that.
Okay. Cool.
When I saw him perform, and you know, again, you know, that's coming from. I had a big ego, right? Because, you know, I was the collection person for the tongs, and I also watched the door a lot of the tongs businesses.
Yeah.
So I mean, I see a lot of martial arts in the tongs. You see a lot, you know, and So in '94, the end of '94. This school, he was just being framed. There was not even a school here. And if you like, I'll give you a tour of the school.
That'd be great.
It wasn't even framed, you know. And he saw me, he kind of remembered me. He goes, "Hey, you're back." I go, yeah. That's because I paid him a visit in Humble. And then he goes, you must really want to learn my kung fu. And then I was like, well, can we talk a little more, you know, because I'm hearing all this stuff from the tongs. That, hey, you know, you want the real kung fu, he's him, or if you have a chance, go see Lam Sang or whatever, you know, all the tongs are talking about. And then so he didn't really show me nothing, you know, and I'm like, you know, and when I first saw him, he was in his pajamas, he wasn't in, you know, and he was smoking, like just chain smoking when he's talking to me. I'm talking 5 puffs, it's done, and he's taking out, and I'm like, I don't know, you know. And he goes, hold on. So I was walking away. He goes, hold on. And he went and grabbed a big old butcher knife. You know, the choito, the Chinese knife. Yeah. And he goes, hey, you want to see this? And I'm like, oh, man, this guy's crazy. You know. He goes, no. He started chasing me all the way down there. And he goes, no, you want to see real kung fu? And I said, okay. So he picks up his shirt. He starts chopping himself all over, you know. And I go, you know, see, out of respect, I go, you know, you slice it, I would be impressed. But chopping, and then he goes, well, you want to try it? And I said, no. And then he goes, well, come back in X amount of days. So I came back X amount of days, and my dad was dying. So my dad came with me in the wheelchair, because that's how the parents would traditionally, with us in my generation, they would bring you to the Sifu, you know, and then
formal introduction.
So my dad came, and Sifu helped lift him out of the wheelchair and into the gun. And that day he goes, well, I'm gonna try out your son first, no promises, you know, blah 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 blah. I don't just take anyone. So I said, okay, that's cool, you know, because I at that point, I was also trying to please my father, because they've heard so much about him through the Tongs and Sifu Namsang. And yeah, so later came back a few days, there was no school. It was just me and him. He goes, "Oh, you look like you've done some Kung Fu." And I go, "Yeah, I've done this and this." He goes, "Show me some of your Hung Gar." And then, okay, I'm showing him. Oh, not bad. Pretty good, not bad. You know what? You want to know what real Kung Fu is? I go, "Yes, yeah. And, you know, my ego's like this big, you know. And then at that time, he goes, "Shoot a punch." And that was the worst ass whipping I've ever felt. I mean, I'm not coming like, he's not telling me, "Hey, shoot the right punch, left punch." You know, I'm faking up and going down, try to choke him out or go for a leg grab or none of that work. And then, I mean, and then the rest is history. From that day on, I knew this guy had something.
There's nothing. It's a classic thing with a lot of the southern Mantis styles that they're not much to look at. You know, it looks strange because it doesn't conform to a lot of the way other systems train and stuff. You know,
but you know, when you develop, because they guard it, man. These old timers, they guard that system, right? And you know, y'all should know, y'all had some good Sifu, you know, and then they're gonna guard it. They're not gonna give it just all to you, and they can't anyways, because it takes that much time to develop the skill set of what they're doing, you know. So and I'm sure child guards the same. You know, you only show so much in public, right? Okay, to a point. Yeah. And you know, if one else took you in, there's something more. But it all ties back to the
foundation.
Basics.
Yeah, it's all the foundation.
For the people that don't know, they're like, "How the hell are you gonna go out there all this time and do what is that?" Right? But they don't understand why, at least in our branch, why we're doing it. Yeah. Right? We're trying to develop the proper structure, the Mabo, you know, the Sun Yang. You know, we're not just waving these hands out. So Si Kung Lam Sang left the thing here, and all traditional martial arts, he says, right? So our Sambojin, which is our second form.
Oh, interesting.
So what is the key, the three pillars of Sambojin? So it's our three key things. Samyang is the first thing, the three postures. Yeah. So what are the three postures? They're the Mapo. You gotta have the Mapo because the energy comes from the Mapo. Then what's the second? The second of the three is the Sanyang, right? The forming of the Diu Tong Te Puat Sao Te Pui on top of the horse. So when you start developing these two individually, then you make these two one, and your byproduct is the King Fa, is the hands going out. So everything has to be driven from the earth to the body through the hands. That's what we do. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Right. And I'm sure that's what y'all are doing. Yeah. You know? So I mean, we're all the same, and you know, so that's like the key foundation to our Sambojin, right?
So what's your first form then?
Okay, so my Sifu. So I was always the black sheep of the group. I was a total screw up. You know, my Sifu kicked me out 3 times in the 25 years I was with him. So for me, he taught me a little different. He wouldn't let, you know. So I think that the universal key form in our federation, and this is written in Lam Sang's notes, and I'll open this for y'all later. Yeah. So we have in our branch under my Sifu was taught the foundational form. It's called Sambo Fong Lan Chui.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, and it basically is just another form of the basics of Sambo Jin. But this is where the first form was practiced. This form is practiced 3 ways. It's practiced to develop, to connect everything, right? And then to develop the power, right? So I noticed Chow Gar, right? Because there's a note that one of the Chow Gar lineage over there wrote and sent my Sifu. You always remember this because this is Sipa Yipsui Stick Kamna Jajuk Chinji Tao, right?
Yeah.
So in R, when we practice the Sambo Fongancho, that's what we are. A lot of the emphasis is Kamna Jajuk Chinji Tao. So our thing is that, and I only can speak for our branch, is that my Sifu taught me that we have 5 Dantians. So when we do these forms, the main Dantian is here. Right? The second Dantian is here, Samlo, and the 2 on the bottom of the feet are your other 2.
Yeah.
So if in the way my Sifu taught me is that when you pull in, you're pulling with a Dantian, you're emptying your chest. This one's your little toe, this one's your big toe. When you start twisting, you apply the same pressures down on all those toes. So what he was trying to get to is that in the end, what my Sifu tested me like the last 2 years of his life really, really hard before he gave me the system. And then he was like, you have to have tons of notes, tons of cassettes from Si Gong Lam Sang. I have this, we'll open this up later. This book from the HMC.
Wow.
So there was 3 of them, and then someone broke into my Sifu's house and took his belongings. I think 2 of them went with that. So and the weird thing is, well, let's finish this part first. So when we suck in ton, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, you got to get a student or to try to coordinate this folding with the heels doing this. So that's our first form. Well, that's how my Sifu taught me, and then that's how I start teaching other people. Because I'm not gonna, when my Sifu was gone, I told my Sifu, I'm not gonna wait 30 or 40 years to find someone to take over your system. Because I'm gonna start teaching it from the get-go. Either they get it or they don't.
Yeah.
Right? And that way it saves a lot of time. And then and the integrity. So I don't want to be one of these guys that worked all their life or something, and then they're holding on to that last minute, and they never gave it, right? And for us as this SPM group, that's the only way we can grow is we have to share.
Yeah.
Right. And because I'm not just representing myself, right? Because I can be represent our group as a whole. Yeah. Right? And you can be represent. Each one of y'all are representing. So we all have to go out there and to keep not just SPM, but traditional Chinese martial arts alive. Is we keep the integrity.
Yeah.
Right? And not hold back. And again, like what my Sifu always taught, you have to push yourself. You have to keep evolving, right? We're not that 1940 V8 that only gets 2 miles a gallon, right? Everything about life is about evolution, how to become better, how to become more efficient. And that's what our Kung Fu journey is, right? And that's how I push everyone to train. But you can, and then you're always going to have the opposite end of the spectrum. Tommy, this is not how this was taught in here 50, 60 years ago, and your Sifu's making all this or whatever, right? Because, okay, you stay with training that's 200 years old. There's something there, but you have to evolve because you know, yeah, you know, I got a lot of friends that have MMA schools, and we develop relationships. Don't think that how you train 20, 50, 70 years ago, there is the essence is still there. But you have to train with these people that are fighting differently now, you know.
Yeah, it's true. There's that
you know, but
evolution, you know, like the classic one is, you know, do you have groundwork in your system? Because everybody knows a bit of groundwork now from watching MMA or there's a proliferation of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you know, Gracie jiu-jitsu, whatever, all these different systems that deal with stuff on the floor as well. And if you're not prepared, you're going to get eaten alive, you know. So,
and then like if you take the true essence of SPM, right? And maybe you never taken jujitsu in your life, but if jujitsu is such a pure art, and you had a pure teacher teaching you the art of SPM or Masipo Juklam or but let's just take SPM you know, in general. My understanding is that SPM, you want to close the gap, you want to suffocate the center, right? We are a short range system. Why? Because you're safest at the short range, which people have to develop a comfort for, right? Because you see all this all the time, you're 5 feet away. People are comfortable with that. And then
the idea is to close in and finish, isn't it?
Finish and close in, and then think about it. If you do get taken to the ground, right? What is your key to not getting, what do they call it, ground and pound on all day long? The key is what? That you win your center. The guy's locking you out and your hands are out. You always make your way back to center. You hear and you control, or grab him around the head, or what you control. You control that.
There's we've got, I mean, there is still stuff in our systems that you would still use on the floor. You know, we've even got the pull and jerk, which is to try to get up again. It's a form for actually getting back up. But
we always say like you can take the concepts and you can take the principles, and you apply them to any position on the ground, any position, whether it's mid-level, whether it's low level, whether it's on your back, whether it's on your knee, whether your hand is on the floor. The concepts and principles and the powers that you learn, they can be applied in any position.
Yes.
Things like that. We've just got a comment from Sifu Sean Whitaker from Dit Now Tong Long Pai, and he says,
"Nice to meet you, Sean. Nice to meet you."
Yeah, and he says Sambo Fung Nan Choi is the first form in their system, and Sambo Jin is their second form in Dit Now. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I you know, even when I first taught, when Sifu let me start teaching all his reunions, we had people that came to me and they said, "There's no Sambo Fung An Choi in Joklam or SPM." You know, I mean, my thing is that, you know, everyone has their opinion, and my, to keep my integrity, that's all my Sifu taught me. Right?
Exactly.
And you know,
that's
and Sifu always said, right, that one thing good about Kung Fu is that you can bullshit about all whatever, right? But what you can produce, you can never lie about. So your ability as a human being, as a man, all comes. There's no lying. It's all in the hands. It's, you know, how much time, how much effort, how much Kung Fu you have.
Yeah.
You know, is how much you put in it. You know.
Yes,
so,
we say that all the time. You know, we've been doing this online training. We've been telling people through our own experience as well that the more effort you put in, the more reward comes back.
Definitely.
It's you know, standard really.
So Tommy, let's go back to when you first started training with your Sifu. Okay. What was the initial training like? I mean, what was your first lesson? I mean, your first lesson was obviously getting your ass handed to you, but what was your second lesson?
So my Sifu, so in the beginning when he started, there was only probably like maybe 20 of us. And the training was every day. It was every day, Monday through Saturday, right? you could come in at 4:30, and if he was here, then he would work with you. And then he would go back in and take a nap. You do your stuff. Then at 6:30, the regular class started, and then it ended up usually about 10. We went out to eat, hung out, and then so the foundational first year was, the first few months sucked, right? Because I'm like, how the hell am I gonna learn this guy's kung fu when all you did was walk the horse? This is all we did.
Yeah.
That's all you did. I'm talking, you didn't learn nothing. That's all you did.
Yeah.
You know? And then, you know, when you think he's about to teach you something else, okay, you're spending the second hour and you're no longer here. Now you're here, and I'm like, dude, you know. So that was probably the first few months, and then we go up to then you get this one, right? And all you're doing is chopping, and that was it, you know. And then a few months would go by, he would add a next exercise, and then so it was like army training, right? And then if you wanted to learn something, someone in the class, and we made a pact, you know, and we go, hey, it's your turn to shoot the punch, right? You know? And then so that's how it was, you know. I mean, because he would seriously hurt you. I mean, because his thing was this: you had to sign a waiver when you came in, and he goes, "Don't worry, that's the only way you can learn kung fu. Is I'm gonna break stuff, and then I'm gonna take you to the medicine room. I'm gonna fix you." So, I mean, it got to the point where, you know, any of his students that's been with him 10 years, they're gonna tell you that's the worst part. No one wants to shoot a punch anymore. No one wants to be. After a while, no one wants to be that person that does the demos with him or whatever. So after he saw that we endured it, then he started adding other exercises. Then he started taking people, you know, separating the groups and working with each individual one-on-one. And that's one thing that he really engraved in me, that and that's what I tell my students now, that being a Sifu is not about making you copy me or follow this, but what your first priority, my Sifu says, is I always got to bring the best out of each student.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, because some students are not physically capable of doing certain things, but you have to bring them and push them to that brink, and that's what it was, you know. So it took years to understand.
Oh, so yeah.
Why my Sifu trained those things the way it did.
People have different physical structures as well, so some things will suit one person and not another. Like we said earlier, if you're small and you're facing a lot of big people all around, one of the best qualities you can have is this evasiveness. You're not going to go and meet head on all the time, because that's, you know, you could develop powers and shock people, you know, with how much power you can generate, but it's not the clever way of doing it. But if you're big, there's no sense in trying to dart around someone who's much smaller than you, crush them, you know.
Yeah. And so and to add on to that is that even though you're big and muscular, if you learn what a tiny person can do, your kung fu just might be turbocharged or supercharged.
Yes. Right.
So, and it's not about copying their movement, but understanding what that little dude is doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Get it inside.
Right. And then again, and then your ability becomes more efficient and less effortless, and you know, and that's what it's about. So, you know, for us, my thing is that you have all these people. I talk to people all the time, you know, and they're calling me, and I said it's all the same, man, right? And don't worry about what I don't have time to hear all this. All I do is I concentrate on my own stuff, what my people passed to me, and collectively as a group we can you know, elevate to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, so but the key is for students, you know, they have to understand what that that exercise is teaching. So that's what's important, you know.
Yeah.
So for those that may not be aware, can you talk a little bit about your Sifu?
Kung Fu, our lineage comes from Samta on the altar. So Samta passed it on to this man that wrote these 9 books, Lei MC.
That's a bit of history you've got there, Tommy.
Look at that.
That's a piece of history there.
So I don't want to open because I don't want to break it, but you know, I mean, me and my Sifu went over this about 10 years. So the next one was Lace MC. So from Lace MC, so I don't know what happened, right? But from Lace MC, there was at a time Jiang Yao Zhong, okay? And I'm sorry if I offended. This is just what my Sifu told me. And then, you know, so I don't know what happened. When I first started, one of the original altars in 94, and maybe earlier, he had a school in Humboldt. They had Jiang Yao Zhong on there.
Yeah.
And then, so at a certain time, Sikong Lam Sang, at a certain time, he had these letters. I got these letters. He said to take that altar off, and after X amount of time that he's passed, put on this altar. So when the new altar came, and then, you know, a lot of people were in China and wherever, we're getting all these mail, you're full of shit, blah, 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 you know. So, I mean, I know it was going to offend some, but that's what the letter from Sikong said to do, right? So, for some reason...
When you say Sugung, you mean Lam Sang, right? That's
Sikong Lam Sang.
Yeah.
And then, so, I don't know, and I don't want to get into that point, because the people in mainland China, they do, the Jukum's a little different, and they recognize Jiang Yao Zhong. So something happened, and then while Jiang Yao Zhong, so Sikong Lam Sang was Jiang Yao Zhong's student, right? And there's a picture on the wall up there next to, well, we'll give a tour a little later. It's next to Sikong Lam Sang, and I'm not sure who the lady is, you know, and but she played a part. But also, people had told me that Jiang Yao Zhong's grandmother knew Kung Fu too, and she was more into the internal side and the spiritual side. So when Lace MC, I think it was during the war or something, Lace MC came back down to get Sikong Lam Sang, and he goes, "Well, I'm gonna take him with me, and I'm gonna make him my helper," because Sikong Lam Sang, the stories that I've heard, he was real weak, and that's why they focused a little more of the internal stuff with him. So Lace MC, his real name is Lei Kung Cheng, and then he had another name of, they called him Sim Yan. So the Sim person, the Zen dude, right?
Yeah.
So they shared something because he saw something that I guess Sikong Lam Sang was already training. So Lei MC took him, right? And then so from there, the Japanese War started happening, and then I don't know where it got bombed, but Sikong got on a European boat.
To Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, Liverpool or somewhere. He got on a boat and they picked him up because he was floating in the ocean or something like that.
Wow.
So, or that boat. I'm sorry, and that boat I think got bombed, right? That boat got bombed, so a U.S. naval ship picked him up in the ocean, and there's stories that I thought were stories, but I went and checked. You know, we had a friend here that was an FBI student, and he had access to the J. Hoover files at the FBI Center. I'm gonna see if we should tell me stories that Sikong Lam Sang on that boat. So they gave him a job peeling potatoes on the bottom of the boat, and there was an open to deck. And then there used to be this professional boxer that was serving time, and he was throwing stuff and picking on Sikong Lam Sang, just throwing stuff down there and picking on him. And then so they challenged to a fight, and then they met at a certain time, and they met on the deck at a fight, and that boxer died a day later. So yeah, so this story is my Sifu should tell me, say, hey man, you got any access? Go see if my Sifu's yanking me or not, But it came out, there are files. There was an investigation on Sikong. So Sikong ended up in New York, and I think he started first. I might be incorrect, but I think he started first teaching at the Hakka Association.
Okay.
And then he migrated to, then he stayed there, but then the Tong saw his ability. So Hip Sin Tong took him in as a Sifu. So at Hip Sin Tong is where my Sifu first started learning from him. And I think there's one, that head instructor that helped Lam taught is Wong Pak On. I still keep in contact with him. He's in Philadelphia. So he became my Sifu's lifetime pretty much training partner. And so things happened. My Sifu became older, started doing business. The Tong Wars became to the power struggles within Hip Sing and other on Lung Tong, and that stuff started coming. And because when you're a Sifu of the Tong, you're one of the shot callers, basically. Not the biggest, but you're one of them, right? And then it's just like the corporate ladder. People want your position, right? So at that point, some things had happened, and so Sifu had a lot of connections with the Freemasons. He was a Freemason, and the Kunman Tong, the Taiwanese government. So he went back to Taiwan,
right?
And he stayed there for a while, and just to get away from, he didn't want to fight for a position. People from the story that I heard, and the letter that I did read, someone had threatened him with a bullet. And then so he didn't want nothing about that, and then so he left and went back to Taiwan. And then those are the videos you see Baka, Jinfu Mark going over there.
And the reunion.
So my Sifu had a bad accident. 5 in the different groups, and it's all in here. But so my Sifu said yes, right? But we won't let that get out. There was a certain reason why Sikong trained him that way, because Sikong made him was going to make him do something that he didn't want to do. So that went on, and then Sikong finally calmed down, and so from there, my Sifu moved to Florida, Fort Pierce, where his first school was. He had a student called Wilbur, and they started a group up there. And later on, some things happened, and he had to leave Florida. He went to Atlanta. He taught in Atlanta for a little while, And I think in 91, it didn't work out there either because, again, Sikung, one of the reasons is Sikung got really pissed because when he went to Atlanta, Sikung had two training partners. Well, they're not two training partners. These two Sifus, I think one is a Bakme Sifu and one is a Hungar Sifu in New York, right? And they developed a close relationship. There were Sikung's traveling buddies were because I think these two Sifus challenged Sikung in the beginning. You know, you got this guy that came out as hot, you know, off this boat, and now he's gonna be, you know, the Sifu Hip Sing. So I guess the story is that he made a deal with each one of them. You know, okay, we're gonna do this. If I beat you, you're gonna you're gonna be my slave, right? So, but they became real good friends. So in Atlanta, Sikung told why my Sifu ended up in Atlanta because Sikung told him to go to Atlanta and reconnect with I think Chan Fang Ho. Okay, so he's a famous Bakme Sifu. We have the thing there. So he wanted my Sifu to get some more foundational kung fu that Sikung also shared with him and blended in. And that's why my Sifu has a little flavor of Bakme. What people say, right? So that's where it came from, the Fat Gang. And then that's where, and also I think the other Sifu also did some Long Yang. So my Sifu, because the Sifu told him, hey, go here, find this dude, and because because Sikung's Kung Fu was a very high level, right? If you talk to all the old time, and a lot of people say it's Sun Gong, right? So it's spiritual, him in line or whatever he was in line or whatever, and that's also the main difference because on American altars, it has the word sun there, right? So with us, we have Sun Gong, Meng Gong, supposedly, right? And then I've talked to people from China, joke with them. They said, no, we no longer have the sun part. We only practice the Meng Gong, you know. So that's a little different. So my Sifu, he started in Fort Pierce, went to Atlanta. Then, I mean, he had to make a living, right? Because Sikung was like, just go teach your Kung Fu, you're going to be okay, and continue your rehabilitation or whatever. So he ended up in Atlanta, but then he started working. And I don't think my Sifu knew, but then he started working for Chat Sok, right? So Chat Sok was the one that was having
conflict,
bumping heads with Sikong. So he had and my Sikong was really pissed. They go, hey, you and Onjai better leave there now. So he ended up in Humble in Houston with his first school because one of Lily Lau's Sea Dai from Eagle Claw, he was gonna take care of Sifu. In return, Sifu just taught him Kung Fu, right? So yeah, that's where it all started. He came down here, like I said, towards the end of '94, and we're at where we're at now. So
he ended up getting healed by.
Oh yeah. So I still have all his medical records. You know.
Wow.
He had a metal plate in his head. He was paralyzed from here down. They wanted to amputate both his legs, and so Sikung gave him that recipe, and then their deal was and it's all on paper, you know, if I heal you, you have to teach my latest version. Or the joke, because Sikung never quit. Again, it's all about evolution. So, and it depends what stage you come into that Sifu, right? Or any Sifu. if the Sifu is constantly progressing, pushing,
Yeah.
you're gonna come into where he's at a different level. And how do we become more efficient at things is when someone or something's gotten there, and then they're gonna cut out where you don't have to sit there for 5 months and chop step. You know, I mean, because the
Speed things up.
system is constantly evolving. Long as the essence, right? You always start a fire in one way, and long as that fire keeps being started from that original fire, then it's always still, you know, it's all gravy.
Yeah.
So
that's the key.
that's the key,
the essence.
right? The essence, you know. So that's where we're standing, you know. And we've seen, and luckily I've been blessed, you know. I've seen Sikung's last bunch of his last bunch of disciples. You know, he's on Facebook. I think he's a state representative. I call him Cecil Donald Wong. You know, he has the last altar. You know, and it's the same as ours. So you know, what I'm saying, you know, so yeah. And again, right, for me, I know, and that was my problem. But my Sifu always said, we have other students that know this history like the back of their hand, right? They're gonna throw you a date, they're gonna throw you a time, when this, and all my Sifu, I just remember one thing: who's your Sifu? I said, you're Sifu. Did you meet Lam Sang? No. Did you meet Lei MC? No. Then don't, just have respect. So when someone asks you, who's your Sifu? What's the lineage? You tell them this, and you tell them, hey, all I know is my Sifu.
That's it. That's all we can do. That's all.
Yeah.
We can do, because the rest is a lot of it is shrouded in the mist of time, isn't it? So it is, you know, have respect for the ancestors and that past history as what, you know, as it's been told to you, and just train what you've been taught. Isn't it?
Just train. I mean, and that's what I look for, because my Sifu, when he was trying to really explode the system, you know, he met a lot of individuals that, I mean, even to this day, there's some, we're not gonna mention no names. There's individuals that they never learned from my Sifu. There's individuals that said that they never walked in this going. You know, I got pictures and videos.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but and you know, I've seen reports about Wang Yu Gong's son never talking to my Sifu. I got pictures right here. You know, I got videos of all their conversations about Jokalam and the people that. But I don't know why. You know, but my thing is, like I said, for us, you know, we're family now, right? Me, you, Nish, everyone in SP1, we're family. Molam Yaka, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that for us to move forward, we have to do our art in honor. My thing is, I'm not gonna make honor of my art, making up a portfolio of all my inheritors, and I can't do shit. Okay, because what does that mean? At the bottom of the day, every one of us is a direct representative of their lineage, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're Jiangmon or you're a Totai or you're Yapsap Daichi, it doesn't matter. If you came across your Sifu and this is what is passed, and you have to represent it, you know, it's the only way we're gonna move forward and do this Molam Yaka is to keep the art real.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
And the most important thing, apart from, you know, that Molam Yaka, that connection that I think is really important. And like I said, I'd rather sit down, have Yum-Chow with someone, have a discussion about the differences of our system, the similarities of our system, and learn from that, than to waste time on arguments. And the other thing,
and then you also, you know,
as individuals, we just need to be as good as we can be, and then then better, aim for better all the time.
Exactly, man. Exactly, man.
You know?
And we all know, come on, guys, right? We're not gonna all, you know, you probably have people that think they're gonna make millions and millions off of Kung Fu.
No.
And if they do, and if I do, you know, I look up to you. I congratulate you. But that's not the case, man. And then, you know, when one lesson, we have a Qigong set. And then in order for us to practice all the different Qigongs, we have to empty the mind. And then when, you know, when money becomes your focus, what does that activate? That activates greed. And then what does greed do? It impurifies your intent, right? So you're no longer trying to save the art or promote the art because of the art.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Now you're gonna start making shortcuts. So I'm gonna teach a little this to make a little money. You know, my Sifu, people I read on the internet, my Sifu was making all this money. Man, my Sifu lived on, there were weeks, my Sifu lived on 1 loaf of bread and 1 carton of milk. There were months my Sifu lived on a box of ramen. You know, he wouldn't take money from us, you know, but we still, I mean, you know, so, but the thing is that, again, you know, I think everyone here is Kung Fu sick. We got to be stupid to take the abuse, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's the truth.
But why? Because that's what our heart.
We know the value of what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Right. We're all, look, I'm going to be 55. I'm not going to still practice this because whatever. There has to be a reason, right? We're, you know, so and we're crazy, right? But that's the key, you know, for us to move forward. It's about keeping what each individual, where we came from, and how we were taught, and you know, why. Like me, I go through each form. There's not one part of the form that I don't show how to use to fight, right? Yeah. Because why? It opens up the mind to the person, right? So they have an understanding. You can't. I've been to a school, and I'm not going to mention his name. He asked me to go there and teach, and then they did 5 forms, 6 forms. And y'all guys know how to use this? No, that's why you're here. How long you been here? We've been here 15 years. And I'm like, so there is that there, right? There is that principle, you know. And then, but again,
if you don't understand what you're doing when you're doing the form, you're just doing a dance. You're just making moves.
And then,
and that helps you to discover and make connections and make discoveries yourself.
Right. And you got to feel, right? Kung Fu is not. You have to feel, right? There's so many things where you got MMA guys coming, he's coming, and how you come, but you feel. You're not. It's like, oh damn, that's not emotion. And then I did this, and everything comes in enlightenment phases. That's why I tell my students, if you're not willing to fight, then look for somewhere else. Because my Sifu always taught me, he's not teaching someone to be violent. For you to understand your art, you have to mix it up.
Yeah.
You get the foundations with your Shiheng Shidai, the people in your class, just to get the basic, the Chai Saos, the moral cues, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then my Sifu made me go out of the box. You know, my Sifu did some crazy stuff. Yeah. You know, we would go eat in a bad part of town, and my Sifu's famous for this. And he'll make a racist remark, and he'll leave you there. So I mean, you know, that was his way. That's, you know, that it's just weird. But again, you know, but that is, you know, it's Kung Fu. It's not a rope. So we're not teaching ballet dance or something that's about movement. You have to move forward knowing what the true intent is. Hey man, this is about warrior spirit. Yeah. You know, in the end, for you to come to your accomplishment, you have to push yourself. Like, I got to train myself. Well, if this guy's coming, I'm going to knock this shit out of him. I'll make sure I'm going to drop him. Or if this guy does this, you have to push yourself to develop yourself, or you're lying to yourself. I tell students that all the time, right? If you come into school, even though you don't want to fight, okay, you want to exercise. I go, you got 2 options, man. You can go to join a gym. You can go do Billy Blank's kickboxing workout, whatever. But you have to ultimately to understand what we're doing. You have to have the mentality and learn how to shift the mentality to train the spirit of how to be a fighter, how to be a healer, how to help, how to be righteous. When you use, there's a lot of training there. You know, my secret training you know,
I wouldn't recommend the old school ways nowadays, though.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, especially in Texas, everyone has a gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so,
It wouldn't work too well, would it?
I mean, you might have a chance if you're 1 foot away, 2 foot away, and he hasn't drawn his pistol yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I mean, there's a place. If it's a last resort, you have you have to do it. You have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we kind of train is that protection as well. You know, that's you need to know it works.
And you're and Sifu, your Sifu Puyi and yourself, you've traveled outside of the US and gone to places like Hong Kong and
I met Ipchikang, MCK. I met Mark Holton once with the other guy Lau. I met a lot my Sifu when he went to Hong Kong. They had this underground meeting, right? That man, they shut down Anita Moy's restaurant. There used to be a movie star called Anita Moy. She has a restaurant there. They shut down the whole second level or third level, and there's just the whole kung fu world was there, you know. And a lot of them were taking turns. You know, that group wanted my Sifu to put the system on video so they could save it for, you know, but we never my Sifu started developing health reasons, and my Sifu had to go back to China to get it in film and stuff. But yeah, I've met quite a bit of people, you know, and it's amazing the people that you know that he knows, man. I was like, how the hell you know this person? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
you find a lot we were saying before we met, you know, a lot of these the older generation, they all knew each other. They all sat down and had lunch. You know.
I mean, I met they go down, you know. You know, I've sat there, spent hours with Lake Oleo. You know, at that time he was going to pass the system to his son. No, I got so many letters from Lake people talking like, you know, I've heard, right, that Lake Oleo talk shit after she will leave. I don't care, man, because I got, you know, and I understand, right, because they were all trying to, you know, they're all kung fu. Kung fu has a lot of what called CKFA, and that's what I disrespect about a lot of kung fu schools, because they try to get their name like the corporate ladder by stomping on someone else, right? We, especially this new generation, we because again, there's not $1 million to make out there, man. You'll be starving your ass off if you think you're gonna live, teach a couple. But the point is that we have to gravitate where we back each other up.
Yeah.
And that's not a blind back. I'm not gonna back up someone that don't got none. You know, we share. We come together as a community.
It's a meeting,
you know,
meeting of mind and understanding. And,
right.
But the more of us actually forge these links and these friendships, these brotherhood.
Oh yeah.
Gets rid of a lot of the politics, because all those people that stir and all those people that they're outside of that brother, they would never fit in because they're just, you know, full of crap.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, I'm sure y'all read all these years, all this my Sifu and Jin Mark thing and all. I mean, that was created by, I'm sure after both sides got pissed off, some stuff came out of each Sifu's mouth. But I mean, even when Jin Mark was in his later days when he's about to pass, you know, his daughter Sandra and the son, and I think Alex Doe knows about it, and Gary, they came to us, right? Go, hey, Tommy, you know, I want the school back, right? And I go, you know, I will help, you know, but this is something that your father or your Sifu and my Sifu have to work out first. If my Sifu, you know what I'm saying? If my Sifu says, okay, you know, we're there, and, you know, Jin Mark had his attorneys came. They did a deposition. I only can give what I know. They asked me about how to take care of the altar. You know, the different time. You know, there's other kung fu stuff that we talked about. Sandra, we won't go there. But I mean, there was nothing but love for them, you know. And then, but what you see outside is there's a bunch of hate, you know. So,
man, I took, you know, we've got no time for them. You just have to kind of block those out really, and just focus on what's good.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course, you know. I've had people that, and I won't mention names because but they're in the oil business. I have some students that they're not my students. They're the Hong Kong Jokum student, and then some guys that claim that they've studied Chow Gar. They came to school. It's all about if I have and they ask me, hey, let's play, and we play, and then they come for a few. We work out together. They give me home bar. We work out together. It's all good, right? And that's what it's about, right?
Definitely hope. Myself and Nish. Hopefully, you never know what the future holds with this, with all the COVID stuff going around at the moment. But I definitely plan to get back out into the States. I went to New York and I met.
I invited you that time. I said if you. Yeah. So guys.
I ended up in Seattle, and I was thinking I was going to come inland, but instead I just went down the.
Man, my doors are open, man. It's just that my doors are open to anyone, right? That has a true intent, right? So the thing is that you and Nish are always welcome, right? The doors are always open. Just call me ahead of time because I live an hour away from the school, so.
No, that'd be great. That's a plan for the future. You talked about Sambo Fungnan Choi and Sambo Jin. What else do you have in the structure of the system?
Okay, so my Sifu, he had me do Sambo Fungnan Choi for 10 years. And there's times when he stayed at my house and he wake your ass up at 3 a.m. and you had to do the Chico. Because in the school, we only teach the form, Sambo Fungnan Choi. But it's actually a whole Qigong set. So there's stuff you do before it and stuff you do after it. Right. So, my Sifu stayed at my house for a while. And then times, for my first 10 years, I had to do that. I had to do that every day, right? And then Sambo Jin. But I had another form called Sambo GQ. Okay, so that was just a lot of kung fu that Si Kung Lam Sang gave supposedly his first head instructor or assistant instructor, Wan Pat Wan. He's still alive, so he did not have much borrowing and stuff like that. He just came in. If the punch came in, it was so everything was It was seek and destroy. Right. Seek, destroy, bounce off. So I had that, and then after that, we so in this book, my Qigong gave 9 punches, and in the book he calls those punches Sim Kin. So we have 9 different punches, and then we had to practice those separately, and then that became a form where you only took the first 3 or 4 punches, and that became a form called Sambo Jin. Sam Kin Tolo. Sapat Bin, right? So that's the next form. And then from there, we have the 108.
108.
So the Yapat Ling Bat, right? So, and all the Yaping Ling Bat has those 9 punches. And from there, that was all that was taught besides the weapons to all the enter the gates or whatever, until he started taking, like, he adopted me. So it was different after that, right? After you get adopted, that's a whole different other story. Then so with the main training, So he had different, all his stuff was programmed to teach you at the end final product. Now that I know that after the last spending the last year before he died, he's like, Tom, you better hurry and put this together where I'm still awake and I can verify it. So again, that was going through a lot of sequence notes. I still have a lot of sequence cassette tapes and his books. And yeah, so that's
So
it.
they're
And
on
then
cassette, on cassette tapes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have the picture. It was amazing. I haven't heard them in 10 years. So, and I couldn't find them. And I thought that because my Sifu, when he passed, he has a pretty decent sized house here and the school's in back house. So he left the house to me and his property. And my mind has been screwed up, man. I mean, me and him been through hell and back, and we were just so close. And he took in my wife as his adopted daughter, and I was just messed up, man. And so, supposedly some lady comes and says that this is all hers, that I'm your Sifu's wife, and I'm like, oh God. So we've been in probate, and but finally it looks like it's coming to an end, and she was just off her rocker, but so that's where we're at, and then and it all goes to a final product, right? So Sifu, I don't think I was ever the chosen one, right? Because I was the worst one. I'm just the one that did all the drugs.
You mentioned a couple of times that he kicked you out. Can you tell us what happened, or is that?
Oh man, I mean,
were you naughty?
So my Sifu was real. The people that knew my Sifu, he was real psychic. You couldn't lie to him. And so the first time I got kicked out was, my Sifu had to. This is how real it was. You could not date a girl that my Sifu did not like. You could not marry. If you don't like that girl, you ain't marrying her. All right. So, you have a choice to listen to him or not. So, there was one girl I was dating, and he didn't approve of her. And I did not know she was dating some Thai boxer also. And then I was coming into class, and my chief goes, "Stick out your tongue." Stuck out my tongue. Who you been with? I'm like, get your ass home. Go take a shower before you walk into my school. I walked into the school, and he goes, "So, who you seeing?" I'm going, Sifu, I'm kind of, no. Who you seeing? I go, okay, I'm not seeing no one no more, right? Well, I don't know what happened, and the Thai boxer's boyfriend got pissed off, and he came to the school, and we took care of business. So I'm like, okay, and she was just called an ambulance. Okay, okay. So he goes, I'm going, Sifu, you proud of me, And then he was like, I'm gonna kick you fucking out. Don't come back here again. I told you not to do this, and this is the reason why. Right? So that was the first time. Second time,
he softened and let you back.
Yeah, so I mean, he was psychic, man. I mean, you really had to. I think it's all the training. We have a lot of internal and getting to really know yourself kind of training, man. I mean, he's just so in tune. And then the second time, he asked me back after that, right? A certain amount of time passed, And then he called me out of the blue. And he goes, have you had time to think about it? And I think it was a few months. I said, yes, Sifu. You know, he goes, I already told you. I'm not taking you like a regular student. I'm trying to use you as an example. As when I take you as a Todai, that I'm now half your father. So, and also my dad had passed, and then at the time before my dad passed, he goes, don't worry, I will take your son now. You know. So, and he goes, this is how it is. You know, it's me, my word or nothing. So so I came back, you know, and went along, and then one day, I mean, we were a bunch of little rascals that first group in Houston. So one day, one of the little classmates go, hey man, there's this karate guy at the college, and I was just practicing, and he says, you know, what are you doing? That shit ain't gonna work, and you know, he beat him up, right? so you know, as a class, we were all young then, man. We're like in the 20s, man. And then so we okay, let's all pack our stuff, because we hung out here at the Quan. You know, we packed our stuff. We go see this teacher. And I go, hey man, I heard you. Why'd you do this to him? And blah blah. So we took care of business. And he got it. I never been kneed so hard in the ribs, man. You know, I wasn't concentrating on dude took the wheels, just like, you know, we're just going in there and raising hell and just jumping them, right? And man, my ribs was messed up. And I kind of skipped class the next day, and Sifu goes, get your ass over here. So I walked up to Sifu, and I'm holding this, and so what did y'all do yesterday? And so we told him, oh yeah, and all my younger brothers, yeah, you proud of us, Sifu? And he goes, why'd y'all do that? Y'all think y'all's kung fu is good? Y'all think y'all's kung fu is good? You know, why you do that? That's not what kung fu's for. So y'all think y'all's good? Why don't you all jump us? Why don't we all jump him? And you had to know my Sifu, man. My Sifu flipped that switch. He was there was no return, man. Okay, if you don't hit him, you're gonna get the shit beat out of you for the next 2 months. He's gonna use you as a demo. So you better attack him and
take it. Yeah,
and take it, and he'll fix you. You know? So he took me there, and he fixed it, and then he goes, after I fix you, don't come back, because the college called him. So one of the directors at because we all walked in there with our sporting our, you know, our pie, the shirt, and has like a bunch of dumb fucks, and then and so that's the second time. Third time
goes on.
Third time was the worst, right? So I don't know what happened, and it didn't have nothing to do with me. One of my sea guys was dating one of my sea boys, and I don't know what happened, and my sea boy came to the school, and then all I know is I get this phone number. Get your ass over here. I don't care if you lose your job. Get your ass over here. I had my own business. Shut it down, came over here. And so he thought it was me. So I got kicked out. But then my Sitai fessed up. And then I got kicked out anyways, because I got blamed that it wouldn't have happened if I didn't encourage it. And then the whole thing was that my Simu got pissed off because my Sitai busted a nut too fast. And I'm like, what the hell, you know? So yeah, it was crazy.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, yeah, it was just crazy.
That sounds like the worst one.
Yeah, that's the worst one. But yeah, that's been it. I mean,
kicked you out as well, man.
yeah. So he I mean, he was very, very I mean, he was just real strict on us. And again, it's because of the situation of what happened to Sikong and you know, when they were a Tong, before Sikong, towards the end, he went to the Freemasons. He became Hong Cheng, right? The instructor of Hong Cheng. That's why that second group, the other group where you have Si Bak Jin from Marcus, that there's a picture of the 5 that Sikong left. You know the picture where y'all, I'm sure y'all seen where it's Chen Oduns and Alay's in that picture. So he just passed the COVID. So he was one of the 5. And I had a real good relationship with Alay, you know. So yeah. His son, he moved down from New York, and his son opened a business here in Houston. And so I've known Alay for a long time, and I got another insight on. That's why it was so funny during the times of when you read all over it, and your Sifu's doing something different, and it's not the same as this. It's not supposed to be. I mean, we all kept it to ourselves because Alay did it different. Alay was Leon is 5'1" at the most, maybe 105 on a good day. You know, so he did his kung fu different, right? And it was good that I met him because he helped me. He verified for my own self that what my Sifu learned from Qigong, it had to come from Qigong because he did the same thing, even though they came from different time, you know.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
it's interesting because like the kind of just the differences in the styles of Duklam and your Sifu's expression of it, and which you know passes on to the students as well, and that kind of the shaking, the kind of trembling is your way of trying to express the energy.
Well, so we don't try to tremble,
right?
But the thing is that so I don't know about other branches of Qigong Lamsang's, let's say the Qigong Lamsang's family, right? Because I know some of the branches did not practice the designated Qigong set, right? So we have Yum Yum. We have a designated. That first 10 years, I had practiced that Ngang Hei Gong set.
Yeah.
So, and what that teaches is how to build a harness. That's where you get your Gam Zhong Zhao Ti Bo Yi. That's where you get the iron vest and you know the developing the iron bell and stuff like that. So, what we do is you try to create the most amount of energy in the shortest amount of time. So, which we call Gyung Han Geng, right? So how my Sifu and how one how Qigong was passing that on tape, and how my Sifu did it was like, you know, when you have to hold your piss for a long time and you finally let it go and you get that uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So that was the illustration of what Gyeonghan Gang is. But we start out, so let me see. So in the first level, right, we have Gyu Gang, so the hanging energy. So from here, we start training the students how to develop last second, that last final second. I'm clear, right here. Right? That how to get the max amount of energy in that last one. Then the next one comes here. From here to here to here to here to here. So in the beginning, you try to understand the different motion. But in as you start developing, Kung Fu's all the same. Everything's like you start with a bigger motion. The bigger
exactly. And it becomes smaller and smaller,
It becomes smaller. That's a mental reason, right? Becomes more efficient. So in order to justify your mental, what's in your mind, your physical has to do something to cause your circle to become smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
Right? So our shaking is just about when it comes to that 1 second when I make that contact, and it comes. So, but what I'm doing, what the difference is that, so how my Sifu was very happy with me towards the end, because he was trying to tell me, you've done all my training. I passed you everything. Explain this now.
Yeah.
You only can become a Sifu if you can explain it, and you only will become a Sifu if you can get someone to do it. So in our branch, and how I've been teaching it for years, right, is everything is controlled from the center, the dantian. As the body forms, everything comes to the center. So we have lukap. Muay Thai has lukap, right? The elbows and the knees do the same thing. The wrists and the ankles do the same thing. The shoulders and the hip does the same thing.
Yeah.
But the highest level is lukap hap yat. How do you make everything one? So it's easy to do exercises where I can do this, do this, do this, do this, do all this, and make it all connected individually.
Yeah.
That's me. That's me doing it. So my evolution with my Sifu's Kung Fu is, how do we make these look up? How can you control with one control center?
Yeah.
So if you imagine that, it's like a spider web. Foul, chum, ton, toe.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
So when in the spider web, when I pull the center, what happens? Equal tension all around.
Yeah.
When I release, if it was like a slingshot or trampoline, then everything had to be part of the
movement
power, the factory. So my training, my Sifu, this is one of the hardest things. I had to be able to do push-ups with this. Then you had to do individual push-ups with this. Then you had to do individual push-ups with this. And I just put one of my classmates, he goes, showed him. But I just posted a video this morning. He was like, show them what you do, So I put 2 bows there. I start doing these. Where you're not, you gotta compress.
I saw that vid.
You gotta compress into the phone line.
Yeah.
And so you start developing, when you start compressing, that's what it is. That's a secret to it. It's not muscle. I never did any external training. That's all internal. That's all my training of sukung.
Yeah.
You pressing everything in here and controlling all your energy, and every bit of energy goes into there.
Yeah.
So so the trembling is just an after effect of that power. Because if you hold it there, then you have not released all the energy, right? You come and you just chop. You did not release all that energy into it. If that punch comes down, come here. I had to block this gun. I'm releasing everything.
Yeah.
When I want to change the motion, it's about how I adjust my body. Then this comes.
Yeah.
When the energy all goes, this goes.
Yeah.
It's just a
continuous. It's a continuous flow
of understanding how to fight gang and how to produce the energy to leave that part. So one of our things is, my Sifu said, you remember this. The Kung Fu is like a ping pong ball. The same amount of force that you throw the ping pong ball is how many bounces you're gonna get.
Yeah.
So basically, all this is about when we fight, we never back up. We go straight into it. We go straight into the confrontation. Why? Because your momentum. You got your. There's no these guys all the time. You know the secret sauce. Like, I ain't no secret sauce, man. Think about it. You put your momentum on them because you know that's to your advantage, right? That's foul, right? Foul. You know, foul is when you're going to go into, like me. One of the main differences I see in martial arts, in Chinese Kung Fu in general, is that a lot of systems, they teach from the point of where you're already connected. Qi Sao or Mo Q.
Yeah.
Or Mo Get, you know, we have Mo Get where you put the shins on each other, and if the guy's shin is coming forward, I mean, he's coming with the right punch. If the guy's shin's moving a little left, you know, he's coming with the opposite punch.
Yeah.
If the guy doing so, you know, some Mo Get touching and such.
Yeah.
But
do that as a sensitivity drill?
Huh?
The Moga, do you do it as a sensitivity drill?
Yeah, we do it as a sensitivity drill. So, and to see where he's gonna go, where he wants to lead you, you know. But as far as, you know, we want to get into it, right? And so I see a lot of systems that don't teach that, and that's how my Sifu, after a while, he takes you in, you know, and he starts pulling his a home foot buddy or whatever, you know. I mean, he gets guys and figure it out. So how do I get to that point? Right? Not knowing not knowing what he's gonna do.
Right.
Right.
That's great. So
that's what caught my Sifu's caught my eye. That's what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
Is that how's it? I don't care what comes, because my Sifu's Kung Fu, and y'all have it too. I've seen it in your Samujin. It's just, you know, again, you know, when after y'all do all your Samujins out, y'all have this motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's that? That's just covering your center line.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Yeah.
That's and my Sifu taught in a way where if the guy's coming, it don't matter how he comes. I'm covering this triangle.
Yeah. See, when you
there's
strategies.
And then you still cover. Yeah. And if there's nothing there, then you release.
Yeah.
And then and it's very simple. And the different ways to cover. And why we have and we have Xiang Zhong Ha, right? So we train when you first come in, you train the center gate, right? Because in all your confrontations, according to my Sifu and how my Sifu will design, that it's always going to be head on in front of you. That's your first thing. So that's what we have Zhongwen Sao.
Yeah, protect the center line.
So the Kung Fu is, a lot of people are asking me, what is the Zhongwen Sao? But the point is that the Kung Fu is not in the Zhongwen Sao. The Kung Fu is how I'm getting to the Zhongwen Sao. So we have
the bridging of that gap.
The closing of your gates and the bridging of the gap.
Yeah. Because you have to protect.
Right. So we have Xiang Zhong Ha. We have up, middle, and down. Right. Even though we're in the center, we have high dual gang, middle gang, and low Kung Fu. Right. Because that's how people are gonna attack you. Right. Even if they grapple. So what do we train from there? Why does grappling have a good effect? I'm not grappling, but one of our original students, he opened up a MMA school and a jiu-jitsu school. We talk a lot, you know. He goes, Tommy, how do you, okay, so the key to fighting, what people don't know is I've been fighting big guys, small guys. You know? So the thing is that our poetry is ting but ting, bat, nei bat loi, wo xin fat, nei ya loi, wo the fight. So what that means
is,
huh?
Same for us. It's the same poem.
Yeah. So the Mantis doesn't initiate an
You
attack.
don't come, I don't start. But
right?
if you start,
Right. So
Yeah.
we sit here and we wait for the person to attack. Because why? And and think about some of the greatest boxers. They're counter boxers, right? So because when the guy comes, he is committed for that split second of finishing. Because we're talking about real fight. We're not talking about this training. He's going to knock the shit out of you, and he's going to commit to trying to knock the shit out of you with those initial punches. So, but the thing is that my friend goes, "You're full of shit." I go, "No, I'm not full of shit, because if I sit here and wait, and let's say Nish is 7 foot tall, right? If I sit here and wait, and Nish thinks a 7 foot giant is gonna come down swinging at me like this, it's gonna be over real quick. Because why? You're not that person isn't coming at me with their center of mass. So as a Mantis, when a guy grapples, why we have Senjong? Because we try to meet you at those levels. So if you're coming down, I'm going to sink down low, which is our monkey, because now my center of weight can match yours, right? And so far, because you always, because that's why I don't come, you don't come. When you make a move, here I come, and I'm gonna, because you're already committed and you're open. Basically, that's what it is. And then think about it.
The way we kind of translate is you don't come, we don't start. But if there's no wait, don't wait until you're punched. If he's coming to punch you, stop him.
But
it is that intuitive thing about, as someone has said, Arthur's put, he said, counter striking is such a high level thing. That to be that counter striker, when they to interpret and read what someone's doing, and on their initial thing to be able to counter strike, you do need good timing, speed, and good reflexes. But that is what we train for.
Yeah, it's what we train, and get out of our comfort zones. I mean, there's only so much you can train in the school. There's only so much that you can do with your C dies and seeing, I'm sure everyone has friends that are trading something else. Just wear a little, put on a mouthpiece and a little headgear and go at it.
Done,
No holding back, man. That's the only way, man. That's the only way. Because what you learn in class is just that. It's basic fun. There's so much more to train. You got to train the timing. You got to train your eyesight. You got to train your response time. It's not just knowledge.
The shock factor.
Right. It has to go into what my Sifu called the sympathetic nervous system. So it takes time for you to sit there and think. You have no time in a fight. I'm going to do. It has become a part. And again, and then it's like a taller person.
Brain on.
If a taller person doesn't come down, think about it. Find the tallest guy and y'all spar, and you stay down there. That tall guy will come down to meet you unless he's kicking. Okay, if he's gonna hit you, he's gonna drop a little, and he has to come down to your level. So that's another. That those are all different experiences on this different systems, but our thing is not, we don't try to purposely. I have C hangs, right, and I go, what the hell are you doing, bro? He was with my Sifu and we've been at it a lot lately, and he knows what I'm talking about if he's listening. He sits there and he does his kung fu and he's doing this, and I go, what are you doing, man? I got this inner power, and I said, bullshit. I'm gonna come at you. You stay there and you start doing this, and I want to feel something, because I'm coming at you, bro. Yeah, this is what it's about. What's real and what's not. So that's your enlightenment. So now he no longer sits there. Oh, come on, man. So the thing is, when we do it, it's just because you have such a small amount of area to freely, and for that energy to transfer from the dantian, from the legs to the dantian, out the shoulder, out the elbow, back to the impact per point. It takes that much snap and release to force that in. It's just because if you did it like this, you're not gonna hurt no one,
No.
right? I mean, you could try, you can sit here and do that, you're not gonna hurt no one.
No.
Right? But if you sit there, you wind up, you torque all the coil, it's coming, you know.
Yeah. That's like the focus, isn't it, of actually that trained power, like you said, of getting everything to work as one, and you're getting it all, and it's coming out from that small movement, but you're channeling everything into it.
Yeah.
That's like trained power, gungli, you know.
So that's our Samu Fungaji. And then how to change, how to beam. After you maybe hit something, like I caught it, right? You have all this energy travel, then how to brought it down to the beam. So
Yeah.
so the way that my Sifu taught me was that Lamsang, why they call him the monkey, is, and there might be different stories, but according to the books and the cassette tapes, when he reached on, come on man, he's 105 pounds. That boxer was 200 pounds, you know, at any time, I know guys that work at a gym and they can do damn curls and all this stuff with 100 pounds each. You know, there's guys at the gym that can do that. But it's different if you put your whole body into it. So going back to that spider web. So when you understand that spider web and all my first 10 years training is training the exoskeleton to hold the spider web, right? So I went the next few years of doing soft heikong to continue the building of the spider web. And then later on the training, it all becomes one. It's not hard, it's not soft, you know.
Yeah.
It's one.
It's what it needs to be.
So
right.
We're coming up to that kind of 2-hour mark. We've got about 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay.
A couple of questions I want to kind of get through.
Okay.
So, do you have separate qigong sets, or are the qigong sets part of the initial kind of curriculum that you have?
Yes, I do. So again, I train it the way my Sifu trained us,
Sure.
and then so for beginners, right? It's the Gum Zhong Zhao Ti Bo Yi. The initial set is so the initial set is come, make sure you walk, right? And it's relax, get the head going, do a couple of these, stretch. So what you're doing is now imagine the spider web.
Yeah.
You're starting to just stretch all parts of it, and then drop it, and collapse onto the floor and feel it back to the earth, right? Feel every bit that you came up, go rushing through the bottom of the dantian of the feet, right? And then you start pulling this back, and then tighten up every muscle. Pull sansokun, pull this up, everything. Relax.
Yeah. Interesting. Very similar to what we were doing the other day, Al. Very release and build.
So 30 cycles of that.
Right.
And you come to. So in the beginning, be very precise with the movements. So that's a second rotation. When you get more advanced, then you start developing the Gyeonghan game.
Yeah. Interesting.
So we have 3 levels.
Cool.
We always concentrate Tin Day Yan.
Yeah. Tin Day Yan.
Heaven is up there.
Yeah.
Yan is a day. I mean, Earth
day.
is a day, right? The root. And Yan is here.
Yeah.
So my Sifu always taught how to make all that one. So if you understand that theory, that's my Sifu's Kung Fu, is how to make everything comes in 3, and how to make those 3 things 1.
Right.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting, because it just makes sense, you know, Ting Day Yan, and then that with Yum Young as well.
Yeah.
Balance.
So yeah, of course we have Yum Yao Gong.
Yeah.
Right. So again, so that's the basics is our Sambo Feng An Chui as entry level with the breathing, with the pulling, the sucking of the dantian.
Yeah.
And then we start teaching the more advanced stuff. It seems similar like what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we teach it the way we teach it and explain it is that when you pull up, see Sambo SPM, I'm sorry, you should have an iron ruler as where your backbone ends and up to so many inches. That should be solid, right? So this exercise, you're starting to condition some of that. But the most important in the book, and what finds out is that I see people out there and they're famous. I'm a nobody, but I see people out there and when they do their something stuff, they're out here like okay, right? So what does that say to me? They never had any internal training.
Yes,
because the internal training right here, I'm Diu Tong, right? Because Diu Tong what comes in all facets of what you're doing. So here I'm lifting Diu Tong, right? Here I'm what Sao Gei Bui, and I'm putting everything stacked, right? Yeah. But my energy is still coming. Imagine that spider web being pulled. My energy is still coming out through the back.
That's right.
So and over and through the shoulders. So if you relax enough and you let the chi go, then as I come out, your chi will show you where your hands need to be.
Yeah.
Right, and you flex. We have an exercise where we try to bring the lats in this and the energy on top of it. So if you're doing all this the correct way and according to all the books and tapes and whatever, you should know where is the proper, where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
Right. So I've seen people on the internet, and there's no disrespect. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying how my teacher trained me. So when it comes out to here, this angle has to be guided by the chi or the structure, right? I've seen people that come here and they're here, and I'm like, okay, or you see guys that are popping, they're out here, right? And then if you're out here and you pull the spider web, there's nothing coming in. There's nothing coming in because if I'm here in hot Isao and that punch comes, again, I have to think what you're gonna throw in. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna form the spider web. You see my hands come in by themselves. Y'all try it. Yeah. So that is the way my Sifu taught me. How you let the inside drive it. And in order for the insides to drive it, you have to have someone that my Sifu taught me how to link everything together. How to, so that's our first Chico. The second Chico, you blend everything soft.
Nice. Okay. So, and so what about weapons? Do you have a set number of weapons that you train?
Yeah, so we have, and a lot for the Federation, we start out with the Hakatio, and then we go to the broadsword, Xiangdou, and then we have, after that, my Sifu broke us all apart, right? So all of his inheritors, so they learned to teach up.
Yep.
So, so we have iron rulers. We have what my Sifu was very famous for is the butterfly knives. Yeah. Okay, we have here are some of the weapons. So we have Guando. The Tiger Fork is he only taught me, and it has something to do with, I guess, Haka.
Yeah.
They always end everything with the Tiger Fork, and so the things with red are the ones that my Sifu bless. We practice. These are our practice sticks. So these are not those thin ones, you know. These are
thick.
Yeah.
These are pretty thick. I can't get my hands across. So yeah, these are the weapon sets. You know, spear. You know, this is our training stuff. We have broadsword. This is my main thing, because my Sifu, he wanted us to develop the penetrating power.
Right. So you use a lot. You use bags.
Right. This bags and there's like sand that's become pretty much concrete. So this is where we practice the Jigong, right?
Yeah.
So the Jigong. So my Sifu taught me a lot of the iron claw stuff. So here. So we have this.
Yeah.
So you get that's the structure. So this is we train the Qigong. We have you know, my Sifu made me start out with 50 pounds on a weight bar.
Right. Yeah.
Pop it up and catch it, and
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Do you have a chai sao? Not like
A what?
Chai sao, grinding arm. You know, like
Yes.
Jalgar has like a grinding arm.
Yeah.
You
so
have
my Sifu, that's also our more kill. So so we have a set where we start letting the people get used to the motion, and I start breaking people's habits of just using the hand, but driving the different motions with but my Sifu really concentrated. He said there were 7 points on the bottom of your foot, and you always had to be in contact with them and feel them, and see how your hay is moving and where your weight is going on these 7 points.
So putting different pressure on different points changes your weight and the balance.
And then after they get the fundamental mechanics down, and then we start doing a lot of heavy pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so the grinding part.
Yeah.
But my Sifu always wanted that these people don't develop something that's outside of the structure, or because people are gonna have ego when they first start and they want to show how strong they are. So so they're not bringing on the energy, the chai sao.
The chai sao should be elastic, but then it just gets firmer and firmer. But if you start, you know, when we all start with the Cholgeng, the raw power, but ego is a kung fu killer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People that do that, and they, you know, if it's ego, they really don't want to lose, but it's not a win or lose. You're helping each other to develop. You know.
How have you changed the way you teach anatomy? What's a typical class for you now consist of? Have you kept very much to how you learn, or have you adapted it slightly? So, I mean, do you do more conditioning, sparring, pad work? I mean,
so we had a new group here right before my Sifu pass. So I let them spar. Always let them spar, right? Because no matter they're doing it right now, you're conditioning their eye reflex, right? Their reaction time.
Yeah.
So that it has to be done, right? And then with me, so my Sifu, in the end, and my Sifu told everyone, and you know, he wrote down, he told Paul, Tommy's going to change the system a little bit. I already went through with it with him because I had no success in taking the way my Sifu taught.
Yeah.
He had no super success, right? You know, and then and I told him and see what's different because you know you really have to be with your Sifu day in and day out. You know, I mean, but I know that with us, this branch, Qigong is very important.
Okay.
You know, and so I start taking parts of the Qigong exercises and put them into the routine exercises.
Right.
So even when they chop, I have them pull up everything and inhale. And when they stop, the nose exhale, that sunburst. And then when they relax and sit back in the horse, dropping the down pin, releasing everything.
Yeah.
So why? Because I know, and that was my individual journey. I know that the Qigong has a big part
Good to know. Yeah.
of the Kung Fu because no matter what it is a part. Either if it's your core lane, your breath with your movement or whatever, but there's a part of it. So so why have my Sifu didn't do it? You had to do chops there for a damn year, and he taught you how to breathe. I mean, come on, who's gonna pay good money to come in here to listen to me? Hey, chop 1 year.
No one. Yeah, hardly.
No one, right? Yeah. And so I mean, I've done little things like that, and my thing is I wasn't like my Sifu where, okay, it's time. He'll drag you on for years, and and then one day he'll just lock the doors. Okay, let's see how good you are. Let's do it. And but that helped me to appreciate why the hell I was doing some of the things, and then but also now I don't sit there and wait till you do. So I work with these guys. I go, look, this is why. So my Sifu you could train with my Sifu. I've known students that he don't like. He's trained for 10 years, and they do the stupidest stuff, right? And he's not gonna give them nothing, or he's gonna be doing Sambo Fungancho and all this stuff. And how do I use a Sifu? Go figure it out. So I, again, because I feel a weight on, because I had all these other great grandmasters from all these systems. They always tell Tommy, man, you got to keep it going. And in order to keep this thing going, it takes two things, right? You got to be able to finance the damn thing, one, right? But I'm not the type that's gonna finance it and then sell you, and mix it. I'm not gonna commercialize it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
totally. It's trying
because
to
again,
keep it true to its roots, even if you adapt.
And it's for all of us, man. It's for everyone on this forum, bro. Because the thing is that, what's all this shit we hear now, man? MMA don't, MMA's the shit. That thing really bugs the fuck out of me, man. But the thing is that, but I give them for credit, right? Yeah. There's enough.
Oh, that's what, it's great. They've commercialized it. That's what people want, is fast and effective and practical for fighting.
Right.
But traditional martial arts is more than that.
Right. And also what will equalize the playing field, right? You have to get your traditional martial artist to put in want to have the drive to put in that time and that training. These MMA guys, you get a new guy, he's in there kicking, punching, 2-3 hours and sparring. Exactly. You're not gonna be able to get that level if you sit in class and you're gonna do chop step and some dances for 3 hours versus I'll take a guy that don't know no forms that's been hitting the bags,
Yeah, totally.
And been in the ring. I'll take him. And that's where we need to go, man. We need to strive and find the drive to make the next generations, go out there and train it like the MMA. We have to, I had a lot of MMA friends, and it's not an ego thing, a lot of them got punches, and then as soon as they come, you just hot right on their cue, so and then they're like, oh fuck this, but I mean. those are our equalizers, but who's putting the time to train them these days? You know, that's your equalizer. Those are your weapons. You know, you have to, you know, your Sifus gave you a dull knife. A dull knife ain't gonna hurt no one. You gotta sit there and sharpen that daily.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's a good one. I like that.
yeah, you know, that's how much Sifu taught me, brothers, you know. And I want to inspire all y'all to keep this SPM alive and you know, we're all from different branches, but it's all the same, man.
Same.
We should have the same
as
purpose.
Mike Novak says, we're all doing the same thing differently.
Yeah. So
we've got one question on the group from Mark. Hi Tommy, thanks for sharing. Very interesting.
JKD, and but he has zero reaction, man. You know, so you know that's it. Come on, we all know we're a good community here. I'm happy how everyone has contributed. It's awesome, man. We know what the formula is for Kung Fu. You have to train it the old way, yes, but you got to keep up with the new way. You have to sit there, and you can't sit there and lock yourself in the damn garage. I've been practicing forms for 20 years, and you never felt a kick from a Muay Thai guy, or you never even seen a kick from a Muay Thai guy.
You know what? That's a real world awakening when that happens. You know, even in training, even in practice, if you haven't done conditioning, and then you condition with someone,
right?
You know all about it. If that happens out there, and you're not ready for it, then you know it is going to be a shocker.
And then what happens? The fight's done. You're gonna have them. You're gonna have them all over. You're gonna have them all over you.
If you've got someone that's good at whatever they do, you better have an answer. You know.
So we're at that 2-hour mark.
Okay.
It's gone so quickly, and I know we could probably talk for another couple of hours. Any closing words from you, Tommy?
No. I mean, me, you know, I'm happy that we have this place where we can come together and just share. Because me, it's not about me, right? I've lost all my business. I've lost a lot of stuff taking care of my Sifu. And when my Sifu first, there's a group of us. When my Sifu, before he took me into the adopted me, he made me write it down. Will you make China, not his Kung Fu, will you make your journey for Chinese Kung Fu your first priority? And my Sifu was part of that priority, right? He's so I've lost everything, man, you know, for this. And I continue striving, trying. That's why, you know, I did a lot of bodyguarding and bouncing overseas. And that's why I had to go back to that, you know, because I lost all my restaurants because taking care of my Sifu. But for me, I just want us all, man, to be on the same page, man. And in order to keep it real, and for y'all to pass it on, y'all got to keep it real. And it's not about just forms. It's not, understanding what your system or your Sifu has been teaching you, and just go from there. Keep it real, man. Because you know what, the truth always comes out, right? You can bullshit. I got this guy to say never from Sifu. I got the pictures here. You know, the thing is, the truth will always prevail, right? And that's one thing, you know. I don't care how rich y'all are or y'all think low of me or whatever, because as a human, we're on the same class, man. That we only got one thing: is our integrity and truth, right? At the end of the day, you can't take all that stuff with you. And at the end of the day, my Sifu always told me, at the end of the day, you'll know if you live the right life and how you measure, how you live your life. Because the truth in Kung Fu in your hands, and people will know. And that and the respect that you present yourself and how you respect others is the true gift. It's respect, and how it becomes our. It's not done by fear.
Yeah,
but it's done by trust and honesty. So, you know.
Yeah, and building, for me, is about kind of building and sharing, you know, the kind of our passion for what we're doing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Really appreciate so much that you did this talk with us, Tommy. So,
Hey man, thank you guys.
thank you very
Hey,
much.
y'all be safe, man. Y'all be safe
Yeah.
at this time.
Thank
Okay.
And you.
All right. Take care.
That's fun.
Hey, till we see each other and really yum chow.
Yeah, definitely.
sure.
Look forward to
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.